Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It is very, very interesting because every day we have two sides. One day it could be peace in Ukraine. The other day could be Europe gets in a scuffle with Russia. So one day could be fantastic, the other day could be terribly horrible for one side. And today is one of those bad days when it could be terribly wrong for one side, and that is the European Union. They call it the European Union, but remember, the European Union is something in writing only. It's not really something like a country. Well, I have a few articles that I would like to bring to your attention. The first one, Medvedev, yes, that bad dude, Dmitry Medvedev, not the tennis guy or the football player Medvedev, if you're familiar with the name, or many others, says NATO considers us the enemy. Well, then we should consider them the enemy, and as Gorky said, the enemy should be destroyed. Very logical and normal, I would say, in the current environment, and not only in the current environment. I think that is valid in life wherever you go. Are you my enemy? You must be destroyed, or make peace or turn the other cheek for some. So that is the first topic, Medvedev's words of wisdom. Why? Because the second article that I have here will tell us something that I've been yapping around for some time, which is the Europeans. I thought it will be NATO, but we have a traitor, I think. Why traitor? Because I don't think this gentleman, no, I don't think it's a gentleman, this general, general is not necessarily a gentleman, says that Europe may start downing Russian drones or aircraft in response to provocations. And that is none other than the Czech president, the president of Czechia, the Czech Republic. He is a general, used to be at NATO, so you know who he works for. And why don't you, as a country, Czech Republic, start doing that? Huh? Why Europe? And who's Europe exactly? Is Albania part of Europe? Is Albania going to down Russian drone as well? All right. And I think the Europeans, and another question, is England in Europe. Will England do that? Why? Because England prepares the path or the road towards shooting down Russian drones. The Brits actually is not the Brits. I would say the Brits provoke the Russians, and we have a Ukrainian-born Canadian who's telling us that brings into our attention again an incident that occurred a few weeks ago where a Russian ship, they said in that video that I made, because I used the right articles, that they did not know if it was a spy ship or not. But if you remember, the title was that it is a spy ship, but then we find out they are not, it's likely a spy ship. And it's okay, right now they brought it to light again, it's a spy ship. Why? Because people's memory, wanes away, erodes. So again, this guy from Canada, of Ukraine descent, wants to get Canada in a war with Russia. Why not? For his country, because Ukraine is his country, not Canada. Don't forget that, all right? Yeah, you can ask me, Emil, is still Romania your country since you're American? No, but you can understand that if Romania gets in a war with Hungary and I am, let's say, the defense minister in America, probably I will have a little bit of love or more love for Romania than for Hungary, don't you think? That's why you have these guys inside your countries. They will get your country, your people to fight their war, their problems, mental problems. So it was that laser incident. So this ship was minding its business, and these guys went to patrol the Brits, the English planes. And these guys, all this information comes from the English Nothing from the other side. It's like in the domestic violence. The police shows up at a house and talks only with one person and arrests the other one without even talking to the other one. It doesn't work that way. But what do you want? This is the level of the Judeo-Christian culture nowadays in Europe and in the Western world. So what's going on here? They started, according to the English, using laser beams to make these planes go away. Now, I don't know how close they were buzzing the spy ship or not. They bring it back today on the December 7th, yes, the attack on Pearl Harbor by the evil Japanese that the Americans did not know and the Americans did not provoke. Got that? That is the story you have to know, like that, exactly like that. If you know a little bit more, then you understand things were not quite like that. But the fact is, the Japanese attacked the American fleet located in a territory in Hawaii. Not in the United States of America, a territory that USA was about to acquire after the war. Anyway, so what's going on over here? They are trying to create problems so they can say, well, we have to defend ourselves. That's the war you're going to fight in Europe with the Russians. Next one. That's why Musk calls for abolition of European Union. Well, he can ask, but why didn't he ask before his ex-company was fined $163 million? I never liked people who jump and immediately demand their rights should be respected and the liberties and all that, only when their rights at that particular time were infringed. But they keep quiet when yours or other people's rights were infringed. It's not Musk, though, but I have an eye for Musk. Musk is doing business with the Pentagon. He is having X and allows X to function to a certain extent. I have an eye for Mr. Elon Musk. I don't think Elon Musk is who these guys could portray him as such. I bought X because I want to protect the freedom of speech in America. Well, more than other companies is true. X does a good job. But still, you do business with the Pentagon. What are you talking about? Anyway, it doesn't mean that everybody who do business with the Pentagon is their boy or something. But he's the only one allowed to send his company to send satellites in space that will be used by the Pentagon. I don't know. Am I allowed? Do you think that if I have a few $1 billion, I can say I want to send a few satellites out there and, I don't know, do whatever I want with them? I guarantee you not. Just pay attention. Just pay attention. Then we have an article from Russia Today. United States of America could depose Zelensky. That's according to ex-Ukrainian Prime Minister. Yes, it could depose Zelensky. And I said this yesterday, the day before, and so on. Zelensky will go either on the shield or on the shield, under or under the shield. You know what it is? That's a Greek, how do you call it, saying. So if you go to war, you come back on the shield, which is dead, or under you, that means you hold the shield, you're alive. So Mr. Zelensky obviously has big problems. I made a video yesterday regarding Zelensky's possibilities, and I think he's on the way out. But I don't know, under the shield or on the shield. Next one. Mr. Zelensky had a conversation with the negotiators in Florida. So Umerov, the Tatar Umerov, decided the fate of the Ukrainian nation by negotiating with two other guys, Kushner and Vitkoff, Americans 100% with loyalty only to the American people, like that Ukrainian from Canada that I will tell you about. Okay, I'm not implying anything, do not connect any dots. So he spoke with them and he had a very, very tense and very hard conversation. Let me find a term. Difficult call with US negotiators. So Zelensky, a Jew, had a difficult conversation with Vitkoff and Kushner, both Jews. Do you believe that? And they decide one is in charge of a country, Ukraine, and the other guy is in charge of a country, United States of America, foreign policy in this case, in negotiation. Just a coincidence, because I don't know where you are. Let's say you are from Malaysia. You always find the president of friends being a Malaysian and talking with the president of the United States of America who being of Malaysian descent. You find them everywhere. Everywhere. And I think Malaysia has more people as a nation than Israel. The Israelis have. But a coincidence, my friends, okay? Keep that in mind. So we're going to talk about this little difficult conversation. And then let me tell you something else. Mr. Macron was visiting, I don't know if he's still in China, but he called Zelensky to brief him and ask. So Macron briefed Zelensky on results of his international talks. Do you understand that? It's like your father comes home from work, let's say you are a 10-year-old kid, and he's going to tell you what he did at the company, with what CEOs he spoke, what is the new, order, how is that going, what's the profits. He's going to come and tell you. He's going to report. Who are you? You're a 10-year-old baboon over there, really. And no, Macron briefs Zelensky on results on his international talks. He went to China. What do you think? He's going to tell Zelensky, hey, I spoke with Xi Jinping, and Xi Jinping said, that's exactly what Xi Jinping said. It was like, beat it. And the guy was beat it. All right. So I'm going to talk about that one too. Zelensky will speak with and this is the weasel word, European leaders. Pay attention. What does that mean? What does it mean? European leaders. We're going to discuss that on December 8th. They will meet in Great Britain, in England. Because England is the center of the Hydra. And we have that Europe already today urged Zelensky no Donbas withdrawal without firm US guarantees. How about you give them some guarantees, like Czech Republic? You see, these are the same as that, how do I call it, joke, when it is an elephant and a mouse. And it happens that they go in the same time, they start walking on a wooden bridge. And boom, 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 and the other one is nothing. And at one point, the mouse looks at the elephant and says, hey, do you like how hard we, make noise? Like tremble? No, it's the elephant who makes noise. Boom, boom, boom. I can hear you. So these guys, like the Czech Republic, like England, like countries like this, they're all click, 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 click. And the Americans are supposed to provide security guarantees, but the Europeans, they want to have a say. But they are the mouse on the little bridge. That's it. All right, let's start with the first one and let's get serious, that's why I will feature Medvedev, Russian Security Council deputy. NATO will be destroyed if it doesn't surrender. Well, it's not quite like this, but hey, let's see what this evil guy is saying. Kind of young here, but nevertheless. Kabul. Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia, recently stated that if North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, does not surrender, it will be destroyed. Well, you're my enemy, we gotta do it. He remarked X on Wednesday night that NATO is pleased about the collapse of the Russia-NATO Council, and this excitement is understandable. Medvedev referred to NATO as Russia's enemy and quoted the famous Russian novelist Maxim, who said, if the enemy does not surrender, it will be destroyed. The Russian, I thought I said Gorky, but if I remember correctly, yes. The Russian NATO Council was a cooperative and coordination organization between Russia and NATO, established in 2002, but collapsed following Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. You see? Okay, so now you know, it must be destroyed. And yes, it was Maxim Gorky. Forget about this lady of the night over there. So here is what he said. And I'm quoting, NATO joyfully exclaimed about the liquidation of the Russia-NATO Council. I must admit that I shared their excitement. End quote. And I'm quoting again, what council is this? There is only one way to deal with enemies, the former president continued, referring to the legacy of the Soviet writer Maxim Gorky. That's what I meant. I didn't know his first name was Maxim. And I'm quoting, if the enemy does not surrender, he is destroyed. End quote. Gorky preached in the 1920s. All right? He also warned that Russia could resort to using tactical nuclear weapons if the Ukrainian authorities use a dirty bomb. On Tuesday, Putin said that Moscow was ready to fight immediately if European countries start a war. Understand? Do you understand what's going on over here? So these guys are saying, you know what, Europe, you are not in the game, as Dmitriev told Merz. You're not even in the game. You're out. We don't even talk to you. And why? The Russians, gave the Europeans the chance for 4 years almost. The Europeans withdrew and said, we're not going to talk to you because you're bad people, like they teach you in America, which is wrong. Well, I'm not going to talk to, we're going to isolate him. He's going to nuke you from his isolation. And in this case, how did the West isolate Russia? I have to remind you that the world has, at the United Nations, 193, sometimes 94, depending on how many regimes or governments the Americans are deposing and changing and liquidating and so on. So let's say 194. 194 countries are registered, trademark over there with the United Nations. Out of these ones, the ones that isolate Russia are a maximum 45. You take the European imbeciles, you take the Americans, Canadians, other imbeciles over there by Oceania, like George Orwell. You take what? New Zealand, Japan, Australia, South Korea, and a few more, Palau, Papua New Guinea, and Paraguay. And that makes about 45. So 45, or let's make it 44. Or 44, to make it easier for me, 44 out of 194, I think you got about 150 countries that really, if you take Russia out, let's say 149 countries that did not isolate Russia. So Russia is not isolated. But if you're a paranoid guy, if you are a, how do you call it, you have narcissistic tendencies or traits, you think you're the most important person in the room. Therefore, if you turn your back towards everybody in the room, you isolated everybody. It's not you actually isolated yourself from everybody else at the party. That's how it works. So again, this, and the Russians said, we tried to talk to you, we were open, you decided to leave, and now you come back. And how do you come back? By trying to impose terms on us? I don't remember us losing. I think you're losing. Anyway, so remember, the losers do not get to impose the terms in a peace. So let's go to this, I would say, close to traitor, because he's going to get the Czech Republic in a war against Russia without asking the population. In this kind of situations, I think you should conduct a referendum and ask, hey, do you want to fight the Russians for the Ukrainians or for the values that we protect? Not you make a decision, one person, to kill the whole country, because the Russians will smack them. So here is the baboon. Remember this guy, Peter Pavel, his name. I don't have his name yet, but anyway. Peter Pavel, he was a NATO general. As Ursula von der Leyen was the German defense minister. Do you understand where these guys are coming from? From the second out of the three profiteers in the war, which is military-industrial complex. The first one are the banks, second military-industrial complex or of the countries, and the third one is obviously the energy, the resources industries. The guys that provide with the resources so you can build weapons with the bank's loans. You understand? That's the whole thing. And then you got other people, they're going to come with PTSD, the big pharma, give you medication to, that's a different one. That's a consequence. Here. Czech president says Europe may start downing Russian drones or aircraft in response to provocation. Okay, what do you mean Europe? What do you mean Europe? So this is the smiley face that's going to get you in a war. You're going to go and fight the Russians. Good job, Czech Republic. So what do you mean Europe? Now Europe can declare war? Let's play retarded for a little bit, full retarded, like in the Tropic Thunder. Never go full retarded. You went full retarded. I did? Yeah, never go full retarded. Again, do not go, but we're gonna go right here. I mean, I know that I'm partially like that, but here I'm gonna go full. Let's say Europe is the European Union. Can European Union, does they have the authority to declare war? I don't think it has that authority. First one. The second one, what do you mean, which is Europe? Is Albania part of Europe? Or Albania is not part of Europe? Or Montenegro? I want to know who's part of Europe. All the countries in Europe? Georgia. Is Georgia in Europe? Is, how do you call these guys? Armenia? Is Armenia in Europe? Are they going to go to war against Russia? That's Europe. What are you talking about? And again, European Union cannot declare war, can it? So the guys in Brussels, unelected imbeciles, can tell the Romanians you're going to start doing it, or NATO. But you see, this is Pavel. Let me see what this guy is saying. And you know what he says over here? If he would have something like this, I would send him home. That's not the flag I voted for, you traitor. Right there, that's the flag of Ukraine. Don't give me the Yamaha and all this going to the wailing wall. You don't do that. Oh, it's out of respect. That's a 9 million people country, man. Pay respect to exactly whom? Who cares? Each and every American president went and cried over there. But hey, Putin is not American president, therefore he didn't go there. Right, that's why he was not elected democratically, and he's a bad dude, I guess. So let's see what this jackal is saying. Czech President Petr Pavel has not ruled out that Europe may respond. Europe, again, may respond more forcefully to Russian provocations. It's a given that it's a Russian provocation, not the other way around. No, it's given. In the future, including potentially shooting down a Russian drone or aircraft. And then what do you think will happen? Hey, what do you think will happen? Do you play chess or checkers? Well, you gotta think ahead, man. All right. Pavel in an interview with the Sunday Times. Pavel noted that Western leaders' indecision is evident. So make a decision. Strike them down, man. I dare you. Particularly in their inadequate response to Russian drones and aircraft violating European airspace. All right? Shoot them down over your territory. I'm all for that. But not over Ukraine. But it's not referring to them. Okay, let's say you shoot down over the Baltic state. Let's say an MiG-31 without a Kinzhal at that time. Then you shoot it down. What do you think the Russians will do? Let's say that's in a Polish airspace. Or let's make it even easier. In Estonia's, Miss Kaja Kallas's country of origin. You know what I mean? All right. What do you think will happen? Did you look over the map to see where Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania are located? The Russians will flat them. 6.1 million people. Baltic states is population, total population. He added that Moscow observes these gaps in European security and exploits them. However, the Czech president believes that NATO has sufficient grounds to deliver a far stronger response than has been the case so far. You are the president of Czech Republic. I want you to get in a scuffle with Russia. And I believe there will be a moment, if these violations continue, where who's we? The elephant and the mouse. We have to use stronger measures. Do you mean Czech Republic? Including potentially shooting down a Russian airplane or drones, the plural. Russia won't allow repeated violations of their airspace, and we have to do the same. Always remember when someone talks about we or us, or always ask, who's we exactly? We have to go to war. Who's we? Am I we? Are you we? Who's we? The same here. Who's we? NATO? But you're Czech Republic. Remember, you hear the weak countries like the Baltic states, like the Czech Republic, countries like, well, they're weak. I mean, Finland. I mean, you don't put them next to France, as strong as France might be, or England. They have nuclear weapons, so they're strong, okay? But the countries are the provocateurs. And they always use the other ones and try to drag them in. These guys want NATO versus Russia in a conventional war. They think they're going to be able to control it, like the genie is out of the box and say, okay, now, come back now, please come back. And the genie is going to say, yes, I'm going to come back right now, smack you too. All right, let's go to the next one. And this is the the way they prepare it. New Voice of Ukraine. Russia hits UK patrol plane with laser in major hybrid war escalation. This is December 7th, today. This happened a few weeks ago. I covered this. And in that one, the Russians, not only the Russians, they themselves, I think the British guys, it was the Admiral Brinken, an old guy, semi-dead already, if you look at him. Go and look at him. He said that is most likely a spy ship. They didn't say it then. And I made a point because, who's we? Pay attention. Who's Europe? Who's Europe? These terms are very important, but they say it and you say, oh, Europe. No. Who's Europe? When they say European leaders, who are the European leaders? Are the leaders in Albania, the AI, the foreign minister of Albania, is AI in Albania a leader? I want to know who those guys and who voted for them to be the leaders. This is very clear, but hey, this is the media. All right, what do I have here? So what do we have here? We have a ship who was in the international waters, was not in the English territorial waters, and was conducting some marine exploration. And the Brits says, no, you were checking our communication cables. And you might be, most likely you are a spy ship. Most likely, like I tell you, most likely last night you went to the neighbor's house and or last night you broke into someone's house, or last night you robbed a bank. Most likely. Blow me. Most likely, okay? But now, from that, now they say it like people forgot, obviously, that it is a spy ship, and it violated something, it was doing something bad, and we, the good people, went over there with all our right and buzzed them off, and the bad guys put some lasers and affected the eyes of the pilots. Therefore, that's a provocation, we have to react. Got that? That's what you need to know. But it's not like that at all. I mean, you can interpret it that way if you want. And here it is. Western nations risk dangerous complacency. Remember this guy? He's ready to fight with your lives. Over Russia's war against Ukraine, Michael Buchyrkiev, a global affair analyst at the Atlantic Council and a Canadian journalist of Ukrainian descent. Is he also Jewish? I want to know. All right. Warned on December 6th, stressing that even countries far from the front lines, Canada, are not immune from its global consequences. This is what he says. Some countries think that if they're far from the conflict, like Australia, so you guys are going to fight, then we don't need to worry about it. Well, ask the British what happened a few weeks ago when a Russian intelligence gathering ship. That's a lie. That's a lie right there. He lies. But he lies because he thinks that you don't know, but we do know. Intelligence gathering ship showed up near their territorial waters. Perfectly legal. Mapping undersea cables. That's an interpretation. Is that what they did? They don't know. But he says it like it's proven. And directing military-grade lasers at the eyes of Royal Air Force pilots. What's the context? How close were the pilots? How close were they buzzing the military ship, the intelligence ship? So this is a Ukrainian-born who wants you to do something about it. While the other guys are saying from Czech Republic, we should shoot them down. But hey, Russia provokes. Because in Ukraine, remember, Russia entered unprovoked and unjustifiable. That's what you need to know. Is it like that? No, it's not like that. And Musk calls for abolition of the European Union. The tech mogul lashed out a bureaucratic monster after his platform X was slapped with a huge fine. So, on Friday, the European Commission fined X 120 million euros, which is $163 million, for breaching its transparency obligations. That means censorship under the 2022 Digital Service Act. That is a censorship organization, how do you call it, agency, which sets standards for accountability and content moderation. That's content moderation, it's censorship. The ruling called the platform's blue checkmark system deceptive and accused it of weak advertising transparency and failing to provide required data access. In a series of posts on Saturday, Musk, who often accused Brussels of imposing excessive regulation, argued that, and I'm quoting, EU bureaucracy is slowly smothering Europe to death. The EU should be abolished and sovereignty returned to individual countries so that governments can better represent their people, calling the bloc a bureaucratic monster. So, Musk also owns Tesla. SpaceX has previously described the EU as a giant cathedral to bureaucracy. Overregulation suppresses innovation. That's true. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio criticized the ruling as an attack on all American tech platforms and the American people by foreign governments not engaging in censorship, EU said. Europe is a lie. It's a deceptive, hypocritical entity. It's like a rapist who is telling the victim and everybody else that he's providing some loving. But their actions are not that. The actions are actually to hurt and so on. Right? So this is the European Union. And to protect you for the common good. But I'm going to give you this. I was thinking for some time, why the Americans here have a different attitude than the Europeans, and I'm going to lump them together because I noticed that in Europe, wherever I went. The Europeans are more likely to say, I'm generalizing, I know, are more likely to say, well, the authorities said that, yeah, they will take care of us. Yeah, the guys that we voted, they know what they're doing. They're special. That's why over there when we are over here. That's the attitude in Europe, mostly. I understand I generalize. It's not you if you live in Europe because you're here with me, right? And you and I are special. Special doesn't mean necessarily good, okay? Special. So again, but in America, it's like, you don't tell me what to do. You're not my boss. I can do whatever. It's America, man. I heard this so many times. I never heard in Europe, no, man, you don't tell me what to do. This is Europe, man. You don't tell me that. I never heard that in Europe. In America, I heard it. The first things I heard that. Nobody tells you what to do. You do whatever you want, man. This is America. And I was thinking, how did these guys reach this attitude? And the other guys are still stuck in their serfdom attitude. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, those guys are still with the landlords or landowners, with their kings, with the dukes, with their counts and all that. Why? They are having this hierarchy, and I don't understand that they are just the same peasants, the same serfs working on those people's lands. That's what they are. They still have the same mentality. Actually, epigenetics work just fine. If you've been a slave, I'm talking about Europe, okay? Or a serf, let's put it mildly so we avoid imbeciles. All right, we have to take care so we don't step on all that shit on that narrow, poorly lit road that I explained. So if you were a serf of your life for, 55 generations or 56 generations, then you're going to have the same mentality even when you're free. You're going to still have the same mentality. The same, that's why the Europeans have their mentality. These guys, they came here as free people. Oh, go to West, man, get how much you want. Go over there, shoot those, boom, 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 do whatever you want. It's a different mentality. They didn't have kings. We are citizens. Over here, no, I'm just a peasant. That's one of the reasons I want to write a book on this, make a thesis. I think that's one of the reasons why the Europeans are all, not all, but yes, we can do this. No, we're going to protect you. No, he's talking too much. Smack him. He should not talk. In America, I'm a free person, man. I can speak. A different attitude from the get-go. I think it's because of the serfdom that the Europeans had. The count is speaking. Yeah, humility and all that. Plus, your religion. Bravo. But it's interesting that the religion also gives you a hierarchy. Remember when your Lord Jesus Christ was asked, teacher, preacher, by the rich guy, what should you do? Or what should you do if you are a slave? Should we leave everything and come and follow you? What did Jesus say? No, if you're a slave, you go and serve your master. Referring to him as well and his daddy and all that. So the Bible, that's why for me it's a lot of giveaway. It was not something over there, it was us. Still had the mentality of slavery then. It was not freedom. Oh no, God says no slaves. Nowhere in the Bible you find that. On the contrary, you find the Israelites getting slaves from wherever, including the virgins. From every city they destroyed, city-state, they destroyed, keep the virgins. They work better in the field. with the goats. Yeah, you think so? Or during the nighttime? What do you think it was? Never in the Bible is sanctioned slavery. On the contrary, go and serve it, including in the New Testament. So it's the same attitude, thought to a continent. But anyway, the Romans had slaves, but at least they were honest about it. And you could win your freedom in Roman times. In Christianity, no, he sent you back. All right. Let's go back here to our ship, shall we? US could depose Zelensky, ex-Ukrainian prime minister. Washington could oust the Ukrainian leader if he obstructs a US-mediated peace process. Well, okay, Nikita Azarov. What will they do with the Brits if they try to destroy everything? Let me see who this guy is. I have a feeling. Yeah, his father was half Estonian and half Russian. His mother is the Russian mother. But hey, doesn't matter, does it? Loyalty is based on your heart, not on your genetics or group membership. So, just kidding. You know exactly what I mean. So here, the US could remove Zelensky from power if he obstructs Washington's efforts to end the Ukraine conflict. It's not Zelensky, man. It's the Brits and other embassies who support this guy. That's the problem. If Washington comes to the conclusion that Zelensky is too much of a liability, and I'm quoting, they will simply remove him from power. I totally agree with that. And not because this guy is confirming something I've been saying for so long makes it true. Pay attention. I don't want you to believe me at all. I want you to listen to what I say, and I want you to be skeptical, and I want to verify. But don't verify to 2 clicks and then go to sleep. No. Because what I say are certain things that you don't just find them on the internet just like that. No, you have to dig a little bit. Why? Because the guys from George Orwell's 1984, they are burning the past, so you don't know what happened there. You don't know there were nation states and there were clear tribes. Do you think that's a Swede and they show you a guy looking like me? He's not a Swede. He doesn't have blue eyes and blonde hair. At one time, they had. Okay, just you have to look a little bit deeper. Go and verify. Why? Because that process, it's a learning process. You're going to find that when someone is going to argue, diversity is our strength. Why? I don't know. I heard it on CNN. It sounded good. That's what they're going to be their answer. They don't have a logical process of reaching conclusions, like sitting down and say, why is diversity a good thing in a society? We don't understand one another. We have different religions, different creeds, maybe different values. They look differently. You don't look like me. You're not like me. This guy looks like me. I'm going to be here. Why is it good? It's more of a reason to break away the whatever union you have. But hey, they don't have this process. They just heard it on many times from school. They heard it on Hollywood movies. They heard it on the TV, politicians, and they got it. Must be true if it's repeated often enough. Like the big lie. The big lie the Nazis were talking about, someone else was using. Again, they reverted. It was not the Nazis. The Nazis said, we learn it, he said. I learned it from those guys. They did it in Vienna, the big lie. They are the promoters of the big lie. But somehow Hitler and, what's his name, Goebbels, they are the promoters of the big lie. Maybe they were, but they did not invent it. Okay, let's move on. Just again, don't believe me. I want you to read Mein Kampf. Go in My Struggle. Go and read it. Why? Intelligence, knowledge. Get it. I mean, you read the Bible every day. Some of you guys, I'm assuming. So if you read the Bible, reading My Struggle is nothing compared with what's in the Bible. Nothing. What do I mean? Did you hear how many genocides occurred in the Old Testament with the Moses at the order of the boss? You don't know that? Well, go and read my books then. God's Nature. Go and find them on Amazon. Next one. And these are the meetings. Kremlin expects Trump's son-in-law to play leading role in drafting peace. I made this video. Why? I made a video and I will post it later. Putin aide comments on Kushner's role in Ukraine talks. Why? Zelensky calls with Kushner and Vitkoff Jewish. All right, top negotiators. Then Zelensky speaks with UN negotiators Witkoff and Kushner. Again, it's among them. US and Ukraine agree on security framework, State Department says after December 5 meeting. Yeah, on the framework. And then Zelensky had a difficult call with US negotiators. So the Jew with the other two Jews. Okay. The sides reportedly discussed territorial issues and security guarantees for Kiev. All right. Kiev has rejected Russia's key demand to withdraw troops from parts of Donbass that Ukraine continues to occupy. The US has been trying to develop new ideas to bridge the issue. The publication cited its sources as saying the sides made significant progress and neared agreement. Zelensky described the call long and substantive, determined to keep working in good faith with the American side, blah, 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 tra-la. You can read the same thing in Ukrainska Pravda, coming not only from the Ruskis, but from Ukrainska, with US representatives on territorial issues. But they didn't decide anything. Nothing. The territory discussion was difficult, but nothing. Withdraw parts, but the US is trying to develop new ideas. General terms. Macron, the president of France, briefs Zelensky on his results of his international talks. Now, what does that mean? Who comes and briefs whom? Well, if I have an agent and I send him on a territory, when he comes back, he's going to report to me. He's going to brief me of what he did. Why? Because I'm in charge. And I will make decisions based on his report, her report, his report, they report, C report, Z report. I will do that. So who's in charge here and why? Well, Zelensky. Macron is think about Macron's career. Where is he going from here? He's greatly unpopular in France. He hasn't been for some years already. He was elected twice. That tells you about the sophistication of the French. But the Americans voted for Obama twice, and Trump and Biden. So Romanians voted for Nicușor Dan. I mean, by the guys in charge, you realize something is wrong there. The other guys, the Czech Republic, the Czechs, right? They voted for Mr. Peter Pavel, general from NATO, catapulted, clap, right there. The Germans have Merz. They didn't vote for Merz. They voted for his party, a Christian Democrat party. I made the point yesterday. It's a oxymoron, a Christian Democrat. The Christian. Oh, it's the values of Christianity. Like what exactly? Keep the virgins and that one. Anyway, so here his briefing is not going to tell us what they briefed, what Macron briefed Zelensky on. International contacts. Zelensky will hold talks with the European leaders in Britain on December 8th. Question, answer. What do you mean European leaders? Who is considered a European leader? Is each and every president or prime minister, whatever, or king, whatever the case may be, of a country in Europe, is that considered a leader? Okay, if he's that, what leaders are they is gonna take? 3 leaders? 20 leaders? 30 leaders? 1,000 leaders? How many? Who represent Europe? You see again, European leaders. I tell you who there will be. There will be the French, there will be the Brits, there will be the Germans, there will be the Poles, and that's about it. Italy already bailed out. So these are the leaders. That's 4 countries. How many countries are in Europe? I think there are more than 25. Let's give them like that. But hey, that's the European leaders. And again, I thought that in front of the United Nations, you are equal. Except one country or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that have veto powers. Okay, we're all equal, but some are more equal. So let's see what's going on here. Volodymyr Zelensky would visit the United Kingdom next week. He's not going to visit United Kingdom. He's going to visit England. He's going to go to London. He's not going to go to, I don't know, Manchester or whatever, Pontypridd, where Tom Jones was in Wales. He's not going to go there, or whatever he's going to go. Next week for talks with European leaders. He told reporters, yes, it is planned. Okay, who are they? Right they. The report said the UK Prime Minister will host Zelensky, as well as German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and French Emmanuel Macron. Not even the Polish guy. So these are the European leaders. This is a gross exaggeration of what's going on over here. There are 3 countries. 3. That's it. Let me show you a map so we don't have any doubts what we're talking about here of Europe. 1, 2, 3, Polizei, right there. So 3 countries, which is this right here, which is the center. This needs a Oreshnik right here. They want Oreshnik, or doesn't have to hit them. Just go around here, or here, and maybe somewhere in the waters here. A detonation, and then everything will be washed as Hercules washed those tables, if you remember. Our Hercules. Yes, not Moses and shit. Anyway, here is Europe. So we got 3 countries. Ein, zwei, drei. That's it. United Kingdom, England, France, and Germany. The rest, and if I go to Georgia and right here, if I go to these guys and I consider this, and they consider themselves in Europe, including Israel right here. Israel is in Europe, but Lebanon is not in Europe. And it's closer. Syria is not in Europe. They barely accept Turkey to be. But Israel plays in the European championships and plays in Europe. Oh my God, it's so criminal. Anyway, so here it is. These 3 guys are deciding what's going on with these guys when the Russians are going to smack all of them. Czech Republic, right here. These guys want to fight the Russians, but hey, together, plus the elephant right here. Together, we're going to make a lot of noise. All right, and from there, we go to here. Europe, again, pay attention. Europe urges Zelensky. Who's Europe? Are the Albanians? Why do I say Albania? Because Albania is like a no man's land considered by the Europeans. They consider, who the hell are these guys? Are they even... You know what I mean? Europe urges Zelensky no Donbas withdrawal without firm US guarantees. Why not firm European guarantees? You understand? Where's Peter? There you go. You understand? You understand? These guys, we want guarantees from someone else. With your guarantees, but we tell them we will hold talks with European leaders, and then Europe tells Zelensky, but hey, they're going to use the Americans. What are you talking about? They put in this picture this baboon Tusk, who's very happy that as a Pole, he now is respected in Europe. Yes. The inferiority complex right here. This guy is out. Look at this. Look at these leaders, man. These are leaders, okay? And this Middle Easterner right there among these Europeans. That's great. Again, European leaders are pressing Ukrainian president because Zelensky. How many lies are here? First, these are the European leaders. No, there's 3. You already know who they are: Merz, Macron, and Starmer. 3. When we say 3 European leaders are pressing the Middle Eastern guy in charge of the country. He's Ukrainian. Yeah, he's Ukrainian. Not to agree to any potential deal involving a withdrawal. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep fighting of Ukrainian troops from the Donbas region unless it includes clear and reliable security guarantees from the United States of America? Have you ever heard this? When you stay calmly and you're part of a family and you don't do anything and everybody wants to do something. Or do you have a wife? Where the wife, not a husband, a wife who says, we need to call Gigi to make the arrangements. We need to go to the store to do... That's you need. Who's we? What do you mean we're both going to get a telephone together? You say, hey Gigi, together? We both going to go and do this? We have to take the garbage out. Who's we? It's either I or you. Why don't you name them? The same here is, we, the European leaders, we need to do it with someone else. We tell you, we make a decision, but the guys that will be smacked will be the Americans. We say, no, don't make any deal with those guys, and we need until he is going to provide security guarantees. And the Americans are like, why me? Because we're strong. Come on, my friends, come on. So that's it. That's it for this video. See you later today. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.